Hi, welcome back to Hydroponics Daily. Today we're talking about another funky way to grow your plants, and that's aeroponics. So this system is very advanced. It's not for beginners, but it is probably the most it's known as the most productive and most fastest way of growing plants if you can get it right. So what it involves is you have a holding tank, just like any other system. You have a pump, and that pumps it into a closed area where the plant roots are. But instead of being a film of water or a tank of water that the roots are in, like in DWC or NFT, it's a mist of fertigation solution. So they mist the roots rather than the actual water enveloping them. And then the plants themselves, the green tissue sits on the outside, so the foliage, the stems are on the outside, and they don't get exposed to this mist. And because it's a mist rather than just a mass of water, the aeration level is super high. Those roots are getting loads of oxygen and they can grow really rapidly. And so that's why it's such a highly productive system if it's growing well. And the system I've illustrated there is like a TP tent system, and they're popular in Asia. And so you'd have a long running tent, A-frame, and the roots would go into that. And then you might have a recirculatory system back in there, or it might sort of evaporate off and things like that. Depends on the parameters of your actual grow. It's great for lettuce, herbs, basil, things like this. You want to grow super fast and will be conducive to this. Obviously, if you've got a very tall plant, they're going to fall off the edges because this is not horizontal, these are nearly vertical, so you can pack a lot of plants in. You've got supplementary lighting. It's great for areas where you haven't got much space, and it's a very light system as well. So if you're going on a rooftop system, then you don't, like DWC, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, that's a lot of weight. Whereas here, there's not a lot of weight. It's only the tank, which can be positioned elsewhere. It doesn't have to be in the actual grow room. There are some major disadvantages with aeroponics. Two major disadvantages that I'm aware of. One is that the roots, because there's no medium for them to sort of root into, often clump together. And when they clump together, you get biofilms enveloping them, and they start to rot, and they just don't absorb oxygen if they're covered in biofilms and algae. Algae grow in this system, and they're very difficult to control. Normally in like NFT or DWC, you would apply hydrogen peroxide or some other sterilant to kill off the algae, but you're going to kill the roots in this system, and also you might expose workers to that peroxide as well, which is, hydrogen peroxide is horrible stuff. Instant pain with hydrogen peroxide if it's strong enough. And then the other disadvantage is, you're spraying mists in a warm environment all the time, and that just screams Legionellas to me. So you need to be really careful you don't get a Legionnaires outbreak. And worst case scenario, you get contamination of the crop, the leafy veg, with some sort of contaminant, microbial contaminant. So if you're really good at controlling algal growth in NFT and DWC, and you think you've got it locked down, then aeroponics might be the system for you. In hydroponics, sort of amateur or sort of side hustle hydroponics, aeroponics is used very often for rooting of cuttings. Lots of people see success with very small aeroponic systems. Desktop size aeroponic systems for rooting cuttings. And they're only in there for a short period of time, so you don't get those build-up of biofilms, and lots of oxygen get into the newly developing adventitious roots. So most people start off with aeroponics, and then they move into some other system once their cuttings have rooted. So for propagation, aeroponics is often a good option. So that's been the Hydroponics Daily for today. Thank you.